Hey friends, it's Sandra here from Huron Ridge. Thanks for joining me in the greenhouse today. I know we are all itching for spring to come. We're so sick of winter and being stuck in the house. So I thought I would maybe give you a little bit of hope for spring and inspiration just by talking about plants. The greenhouse is open. You're welcome to visit us in February, Thursday through Saturday from 10 till 4. And then in March, we're going to go back to being open 6 days a week. But in the meantime, I thought we probably all have a few houseplants in the house. And I was just going to chat with you a little bit about a few different houseplants that I have. I actually brought these from home. And different ways that you can propagate or divide or ways to know whether you need to do that. So I'm going to start first of all with my begonia. Now this is a begonia maculata. I believe that's how you say it. They also call it a polka dot begonia. And it's been sitting in a east window in my house for quite some time. It does really well there. I have to water it, every 6 days, 5-6 days or so. It doesn't take a whole lot of water, but it does like a drink. But I was finding it was getting really leggy and kind of floppy and just not very nice. So I actually took some cuttings. You can see here on the ends where I took the cuttings from. And then if you go to the nodules or the branching out before that, you can see where the new leaves are starting to come, and it is done so well. I think I took these cuttings about 4 to 6 weeks ago, and this is what I took off. So I don't remember if this one was here, but these are the ends of my begonia plant. I think that one was there. Yeah, and then this guy was over here somewhere. I'm not even sure anymore. But I took essentially 3 nice sized cuttings and I simply put them in a glass of water and put them on the shelf right beside where my plant was growing because I knew it liked that amount of light and would do well. And look at in just a few weeks how many roots I have growing. This one is really showing its roots. And you can even see this part of the plant was in the water as well. Back another knuckle here. And it's got roots coming out. So this guy is ready to get potted up and grow a new begonia plant for me. So that's kind of exciting. Begonias are just one of many different houseplants that you can take cuttings from to propagate them. Ivies, pothos, Hoyas, tons of different houseplants will propagate well with cuttings. Once you've got your cuttings taken, you want to make sure that you go back. You don't just take a leaf. You can't just take this much of a plant for a cutting. You got to make sure that you've got a joint. So you would have to go back further. Once you've got your cutting, you can root it in either water or soil if you can keep it evenly moistened. It is important that they're fairly warm. So if you're having issues propagating, you might want to try just buying a heating mat that you plant propagating heating mat that's specifically for propagating plants on top of. Once you've got those roots established in the water, though, you do want to get them into soil pretty quickly so that they'll grow and establish roots in soil. That's the best way to have them growing. Now, there are lots of plants you can't propagate by taking cuttings, so we're going to move on to some of those next. This is it's a type of snake plant. I don't remember exactly what it was called, but it's got these real spiky little prongs. And I think when I put it in this sweet little porcupine planter, I wish we had more of these. We don't right now, but this sweet little porcupine planter 2 years ago, it was just like one little clunk. And now it's just multiplied and multiplied. And it's gotten to the point where it can't grow. And I'm afraid it's actually going to break my container. So what I'm going to do is kind of pull it out gently here. Try anyway. And once I get this out, I'm going to separate these clumps. And I'm going to plant some of them back in this planter, but I'm also going to have more to share. Now, because it's a round container, it's proving a little difficult to get out because the root ball has grown bigger than the hole. Keep wrestling. Oh, there it goes. Look at that. Holy cow, look at all those roots. That's awesome. Who knew that they would have orange roots? Oh my goodness, not me. Okay, so now what I want to do is just kind of pull this guy apart and try to keep as much of the root structure intact as I can. So I'm probably going to put about that much back in here. I think that'll look cute again. And then these pieces here, I'm going to pull apart. And like I said, I'm going to try to keep as many of those little roots on there as I can, but that's going to grow. I'm really not worried about that. That's going to become a whole new little sansevieria plant. Also called a snake plant, also called a mother-in-law's tongue. So these plants are propagated by dividing. Another plant, lots of succulents do that actually. You have to, some of them, well, lots of different succulents, but some of them you have to divide. But these guys are great. Those are awesome. Little sansevieria plants. So I'm going to pot this guy back up. As always, make sure when you're replanting stuff that you use a good quality potting soil. If you've got cactus, or succulents, you might want to use a cactus mix. Otherwise, you can just buy a good houseplant or potting soil mix. But always make sure that you're using a quality product because it's really hard to grow good plants in bad soil. Okay, so I'm going to just set these guys aside. I'll plant those up a little later. And this is just going to end up being garbage. It'll be fine. They'll grow new roots, I promise. Now, the other plant I brought along sits in an east window. It's actually a neighbor to my begonia. This guy sits in a south window, so he gets lots and lots of sunshine. This is my Chinese money plant, also called a pilea. I think this plant has been in this container for, I want to say 2 years at least. It's grown substantially, but I'm not ready to upsize it yet. I think it's still good in this planter. I like it in there, but it does have some little babies on the sides. And when you look in the bottom of your Chinese money plant pot, you can see all these little new sprouts coming. Now, we've tried a few different ways to get them out of here. We've tried just pulling them out, and sometimes that works. It depends a little bit on the soil and how established that baby is in the earth. But we've also found that it works pretty good if you take the whole plant out of the pot. It's pretty dry. I let it get pretty dry before I brought it in. And I think I can just kind of gently tug that baby off. And I got a fair bit of roots with that one. So I think he's going to do just fine. I'm going to plant that in a little pot as well. And I'm really not worried about this guy getting a lot bigger. I like him in this container because it suits well with the decor of that room. So I'm going to take off all the little new sprouts that are growing on him. And I'm just going to pop them back in there and life goes on. But I'll have some new little Chinese money plants to share. So that's kind of fun. If you have any questions about houseplants, I'm going to be trying to do regular videos in the coming weeks to get ready for spring again. So please pop your questions in the comments below this video, or you can send me Instagram or Facebook message or reach us out to us through our website. I'd love to hear what you'd like to know about, and I'll do my best to answer your questions. Thanks so much for joining me. Have a great day.